Hey, welcome to the Grown Women Real Talk Show. My name is Yolanda Lewis, host of Grown Women Real Talk, and we have an amazing, spicy show prepared for you today with our lovely guests. We have Scarlett Black, we have Kim Whitehead, and we have Stacey J. Welcome, 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 ladies.
Thank you for having us.
You bet. I'm glad you're here. So today on the Grown Men Real Talk Show, we're talking about love addicts, those who are addicted to the feeling of love but afraid of the commitment. And oftentimes when you think of, let's say, cuffing season, you think of the man looking for a snuggle bunny,
right?
Until the season is over, and then as soon as it turns spring, he's gone.
You're done.
Right. However, with today's modern woman, I would say that things might have changed, and I would say that men are not the only ones afraid of commitment. So I want to talk today about those differences and whether or not women too can be classified as love addicts in terms of being afraid of actual commitment to love. So the first question to you lovely ladies is whether or not you think that women are addicted to the feeling of love, today's modern woman, addicted to the feeling of love, or do they just enjoy their independence?
Oh, well, I'll take that first.
Yeah.
Well, in my opinion,
yes.
I think that there is an addiction to it. You know, we receive love when we're young. And so you get it from your mom, you get it from your dad, and then you grow up and you start to date guys and, you know, and you start to feel that. And it's like you feel wanted and warm and things like that. But I think sometimes when you go through things with men and the cheating and, you know, maybe the different things that go on makes you kind of, you know, shut down because now you feel like you're giving love, but you're not getting it in return. And so now you're seeking that out from the next man and the next man and hoping that you would get it. And so I think now women have turned to like, well, you know, they're independent, they're making a lot of money, and they're like, you know, some women are saying they don't need a man, which I don't agree with.
I don't agree with it.
But in the same token, then they are now starting to look for men that can just fill that void. And they're like, if I don't have the love and I just have the intimacy or the relations, I'm good with that.
Right. I love that.
I agree with that because I think that today's modern woman is really confident, competent. There's so many aspects of her life in which she has to be it, right? And so it's not just the feeling of how does love feel to me, but what's the end game of this?
Right.
And if we can't figure out what the end game is, that's when that love addiction kicks in, because we are, like Stacey said, we'll figure out what we need for the now. And not be fully committed to the end until he starts to demonstrate something that allows us to invest in further.
Interesting.
And being the last but not least, I agree with both of these ladies. And the woman today, I feel like she wants that commit. She doesn't want the commitment per se, but that companionship. Not necessarily the full-time,
Very interesting.
on the full-time, you know, you're my guy, whatever, but the companionship. Because she's working, like you said, she's independent.
Right.
She's making her own way in life. So all I really need is that movie partner, that dinner date, that I don't have to go and take my chances with.
Right.
But all of that.
Very interesting, and I love that feedback because it is expressive of today's modern woman. But my next question to you ladies is whether or not, how much weight does that hold in terms of the whole entire spectrum of life? So right now, today's modern woman, she may not want the commitment per se, but how does that help her or hurt her in the future?
I was going to say, to piggyback off with you, is that that's the modern woman, but that's not how it was back in the day. You know, there was the man, the woman, and there was love. And we all have problems. My grandmother had problems, my mother had problems, but now we've gotten away from that. So just saying the commitment of being with someone just okay to go to dinner, that's not what women really want. I think once you've been through so much with a guy, you become hardened. And so now you say, I have my own money, so I don't need him for money. Sexual relations, I do. Going out, status quo, I'm going to an event, I don't want to look lonely. I want to take that person with me, but in essence, we want someone. We were made to be with someone. God made Eve from Adam. You know, I don't want to get all, you know, spiritual. I'm saying because I've been there. You know, I've dated, I have children, I've been married, I've been single, and I've dated and gotten cheated on, and been through a lot of different things. And so with that, you start to, a little bit of you get chipped away, and then you start saying, well, I don't need them, and I just do that. And I don't think that's what women want, because at the end, like you said, at the end of the spectrum, I want to grow old with someone. I want to have that, his heart beats my heartbeat, and that, you know, you hear people, and it's sad that when their mate died, they soon
Yeah,
follow
right.
because the love is there. We've gotten so far away from love, like really what love is.
I love that. I love that. And that was actually another question. What is love for today's modern woman? What would you say that she defines love as? Because maybe that's exactly what the dilemma is. If she saw the value in real love and not issues that came from what was maybe introduced as love,
Right.
i.e. the boyfriend who you had and you thought it was it and then he cheated on you, or you know, all types of things that happen in relationship, and then not just cheated on you, but
Right.
maybe even had a baby out of the situation, you know, like long term where you feel you can't stay connected, you have to sever the ties. What then does that make a woman define love as? What is that for today's woman?
Well, I completely agree with Stacey in the sense that I do believe that we all intrinsically know that there are the highest levels of love that we can
Yes.
aspire to.
Yes.
And that is the companionship and the purpose mate that we were created to be. But at the same time, I believe we define love based on what we're ready for right now. So some people, it may be that you're healing and you're not ready to invest fully in that long time, lifetime partner.
Right.
Maybe you can't even be that yet for yourself. So you define love where you are, I think, in the moment, even though you know aspirationally, this is where I desire to be.
Right. I like that.
Yeah.
And then when you do find that, when you do find what love, you know, means to you, it's a wonderful thing because you want that person that you can communicate with. You want that person that understands your issues as well as his own.
Yes.
And you want that person that gives you the space to stand on your platform and not just his alone. So when you find that, it's just a match made in heaven.
Right.
It is.
It is.
It is. It really,
It is.
truly is. So have any of you experienced what Miss Scarlett was talking about in terms of that love that just like electrifies your being and emanates from the inside out?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, speaking from my current experience, I was
Absolutely.
married before for 11 years. You know, he's a great guy. I won't, you know, bash him. We both had some, you know, issues that we didn't, it just didn't work. And then I was single for like, 6 years or so. And so then I kissed a lot of frogs. Because what I did is I didn't want to close myself off to the possibility of love. Because you can get bitter, you can get, and you're like, you know what, forget it and all that. And so I met the guy that I'm with now, Andre, and it's just been an amazing experience. And because I allowed myself to be open, and I met him when I least expected, you know how they say that, it's just been very different. It's helped me stretch. And I've had those moments, we still, you know, have our arguments and still like, oh, wait, am I doing this? Because I moved in with them, and this is something that I've only ever lived with my ex-husband, so I never had the boyfriend experience. So I'm thinking, you know, I don't want to move with nobody to try to put me out and things like that. So, you know, this experience with him has just stretched me in so many areas that maybe I would run, or maybe I would shut down, and then I'm like, okay, let me think about this. Think about this. Okay, you're going through something with someone. And so that's why when I talk to women openly about my relationship to a degree, I want to give them hope, because once you close yourself down, you start saying all men are dogs and things like that, then you close yourself off to the possibility and you'll attract just that.
Right. Well, and I'll say this in terms of love. So love does not mean it's without conflict.
Yes.
You know, I want to just be clear for all of you ladies to very much know my husband and I, we've been married 14 years. It does not, and our relationship is perfect for us. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. However, it doesn't mean that we don't have conflict.
Yes.
What makes it perfect is that we know how to work through it.
Yes.
And that is a part of love.
Yes.
So go ahead, please share. I didn't want to cut
Absolutely.
anyone off.
Yeah, it's very critical to understand both of what you two are saying, because the key of being open in transition, as well as understanding the journey of love, I think a lot of times we fall short when we look at it as a destination.
Yes.
I'm going to get there. I'm going to fall in love, and that's going to be
And then that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is the happily ever after, right? But you guys know me. I talk about the dream. I talk about the biggest fairy tales. But the happily ever after means that you are in battle together.
Yes.
You are going through life together.
Yes.
You're going through journey
It's
together.
perpetual.
It is
Yes.
perpetual.
Yes.
And so that up and down, you know, you're two individuals cleaving together, and we don't know the journeys that God has for us.
Yes.
So we're growing individually, we're growing together, but if we're making that commitment that I'm here for you and you're here for me as we grow, and yes, I don't know what that's going to be like, but I love to go on this journey with you. I think that is the highest calling of male and female love.
I love it. I love it.
Yes, and going through it together. I married my high school sweetheart.
Oh, okay.
We had togetherness then, but as we grew and as the kids grew, we grew this way.
Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't the high school anymore. It was
Right.
adulthood.
Right.
It was work. It was commitment. It was come together.
Right.
And needless to say, that didn't last.
Sure.
And so I was no more with men. It was like taboo.
Right.
And then my perfect 10 came
Okay.
when I was trying to set him up with my girlfriend.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
look at that.
So it wasn't what I wanted, it was what she wanted. And then it turned out to be like, oh no, he's not for you. This is the perfect one for me.
Right.
And 16 years later, it just seems like it was yesterday.
Wow.
And I wanted to piggyback off what you said about the conflict.
Yes.
Is that when I was married before and we had conflict, I was thinking of a way out. I was like, I don't know this, you know. And you stay because then the biblical part, you're like, okay, I'm supposed to stay. And it's like, but I don't want to stay. And you stay in it and you're miserable.
Right.
And so now, you know, when we, you know, have our conflict, and find ways, creative ways to come out of it, I have to go numb your horn and talk to God and, you know, whatever, is once we come out of it, I love him even more.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God, I can still like you.
And
You
that's
know?
that perpetual love that,
Yes.
that I was saying, you know, piggybacking off of what Kim said. It's perpetual, it develops, it envelopes and develops all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's ever evolving. And so are you.
Yeah.
As a woman, you are, just like you said, you change as a woman.
Yes.
Where you're not that high school sweetheart, cutie booty. You know, you're not her. You're a grown woman.
Yes.
And that means something different as you go throughout your life, as in terms of love and in terms of whether or not how you grab onto that feeling.
Yes.
And we talked about bringing it back to topic. We talked about the gaps that women try to fill in terms of just filling it for now. You know, we'll think about that stuff later. This conversation is designed to get women to think about it now,
Yes.
so that they can begin to prepare for real love and recognize it when it comes to you. Because, as you mentioned, you know, when you get into situations of conflict and all, you need to. The common ground is that you both want to work through it.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's very important to understand and identify what love is versus what it's not, versus being addicted to it, and also knowing exactly what you want out of the situation.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
He's looking
I'm like,
go ahead, go ahead, like, yeah, go ahead.
And I think too is, you know, when you see Facebook, you see social media, and you see people all hooked up on pictures, and people start that addiction. Oh my God, they look so good together, they this and that, and it's like, but when you meet someone, what is your preparation? Where are you at mentally, spiritually, and emotionally to receive that love that man have to give? Because I'm telling you, what your idea is and what his idea is could be two different things. And people are not having conversation.
No.
I need to have a conversation with you right off the bat. I mean, not maybe the first day, but all that waiting and I don't say anything and now you slept together.
Right.
Now you realize I don't like you as a person.
Right.
Now you got somebody, another notch on your belt for nothing.
Right.
So if you have those conversations, just...
And you could be addicted to the sex.
Exactly.
Then. And then you're really stuck.
You're in trouble.
Right,
Because now you
Don't let
really
it be
know
good.
he's not that person for you. But
but it's good.
Oh, it's good.
How you get out of that?
Oh my God. Well, see, for me, I have to honestly say, and I know I'm just, I may be a little different on that.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong. We all like
We grow.
good
This is grown
intimacy.
women real
We
talk.
love
so you
good
can
sex.
say
We love
sex
it.
is wonderful.
However,
It's
when
designed
that
to be wonderful.
connection
The intimacy.
is gone, like I can't, after that, we can't have a conversation. We can't hang out. We can't do anything.
In that
I'm
scenario,
done.
it's never happened. All you did was hook up.
Right.
Not
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
ladies.
Right.
All you did was hook up. There was no
Right.
connection.
Yeah.
You vibed off of each other on a medical, on a physical level.
Right.
There was chemistry.
Yes.
But you didn't talk about nothing.
Right. So you can't
So then
expect
how
it
you
to.
right? So how you surprised it doesn't work?
Right. And that's.
And then all guys are dogs and bad and
And I hate that. I hate when people say that because it's the experience that they've had and then they become conditioned to it. So it's like, hey, I'm just he fine, I'm gonna get with him and whatever. And I think that if women really want something, it's work.
It is very much
work.
It is work, and not work to be afraid of. It's work that you actually enjoy. And I had this conversation before. It's work not in terms of like labor,
right,
but work in terms of effort.
Yes.
And when you look at commitment, because you're committed to that when you're in a relationship, when you look at that commitment as effort, then it doesn't sound so scary.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a woman of faith that I know that God talks about laboring to enter into rest.
Yes.
It's not like labor just to get more work and get worked up and now you're exhausted and you worked on this.
Right.
But it's to bring a whole together so that it's comfortable. You know, like you said, as you go through the conflict, you're like, oh, I'm attracted to you even more in a different way.
Yes.
And it's so important. I think for us as women, what's critical for us is finding out what are our buttons for fulfillment.
Yes.
Because if we can't find that within ourselves, we are never going to be able to find a man that can hit those buttons unless we know how
not physical either.
Right, and how to actually reach that for ourselves, right? So we fall into a lot of difficult circumstances when we're looking for the love that we don't even have for ourselves.
Yeah, I love that.
Because it can never suffice, even if he's amazing.
Yeah, the biggest thing is I like the growth in it, the personal growth.
Yes.
It's about us, but it's about me. And where am I growing with this relationship? And the growth that I'm gaining, is it helping me personally, professionally, spiritually, or whatever? And so you want to make that you can say, wow, I'm learning something from him. He's learning something from me. And I know when we have these conversations, sound like, oh, y'all got it and all that. But I still struggle. You know, we still have those hiccups and you're like, oh, you know, but I'm willing to learn and I'm open, you know, and that's what
makes it perfect.
That's why I want to share that with women. They go, oh my God, you guys look so dreamy. And I'm like, we are, but yesterday was. So if you're not willing to work and you want to run on the way here, and you want to run all the time, or you, and like you say, you have that thought process of a man is, we have our standards. You got your, we have our wish list. We do. However, what if that's not what God has for you? And I believe in asking him to ordain or remove the situation, because I didn't ask God to ordain my first marriage. It was like, you know, it was like, we get married, you know, I'm pregnant, you know, and we did that. And opposed to now, you know, when I met him, I was like, okay, I don't know why he's here, but if he's meant to be in my life, ordain this relationship. If not, remove him. And you know,
and then be willing to let go.
Yes.
How and I'll ask this before we get into our wrap up. How hard is it to let go of something that is comfortable but may not be good for you? And this plays into the addiction, because with a normal addiction, you don't, no one, let's say a drug addiction per se, or even an alcoholic addiction, the substance doesn't taste good. It's an acquired taste in most cases, but it doesn't actually taste good. We say, oh, you know what? I want to be all the way strung out, laid out. That's the life I want. You don't do that. It's an addiction. You're drawn to it. Even if you know it's not good for you, your body, you're drawn to it. So how hard is it when we talk about love and women, for the modern woman, how hard is it to let go?
I think it's very hard for people, men and women. We're absolutely talking about women, but I think it's universal when you were not willing to go to the discomfort of yourself, of your own life. Because if you have to withdraw from something, but yet you don't know what is it like to just be with me when I'm not having everything my way and I'm not getting exactly what I want and need, and you can understand how to go through the conflict and transition process with yourself, you're not going to be able to traverse that with any kind of addiction, much less of a love addiction. So I think it's important, you know, when we're talking about preparation and we're talking about transition, there is so much personal work that we have to do before we even start trying to figure out how to connect with somebody else.
Definitely.
Because they're only mirrors of what you have going on. That's right. And a lot of times we're like, oh, he's this, oh, he's that. Oh, girlfriend, you attracted him. You did. You attracted him whether you want it or not.
And you let him in.
And you let him in.
You let him in. Nobody did that. So even what is because mosquitoes like light. That doesn't necessarily, you know, you're going to attract a lot of things, especially if you're a good woman. We're talking about women. However, it's about what you let in to your space. You have decision, power, and control over what you allow into that place to make you, break you, or transform you.
Well, let's go a little step deeper too with the letting go. Upbringing. So
Yes.
your mom dealt with dad.
Yes.
And you know they weren't happy.
Yes.
And you like, but mom stuck through. You know, you don't give up. So you have that aspect of it.
Right.
You have the lonely aspect of it. You have, I don't love myself.
Yes.
You have the status quo
Yes.
is that we look good on paper and stuff, but I don't, you know.
Right.
And so we have to go deeper.
We do.
A lot deeper. And I'm afraid that some of the younger generation don't
Absolutely.
understand that because they're growing up where Instagram is their
Absolutely.
shiboi
Yes.
and some of these
Absolutely.
Instagram models and things like that. And
Absolutely.
I'm not knocking a hustle if
No.
you have one. However, you do have to think about the generation, you know, behind you and who's following, and then you have kids, and now your kids looking back and seeing you
Right.
showing everything.
Right.
So when we dig deep in our upbringing, like my mother was, you know, unemotionally available
Right.
for me, and I'm a daddy's girl, so you know, I didn't get that love from my mother. Like I want to be like mommy,
Yes.
and we didn't get that. And we're fine now,
Sure.
but I've learned to accept her where we
Right.
are. So I didn't get that.
I love that you said that because with how mama and them did it
Yes.
doesn't mean it was right.
Right.
And so even in your evaluation of digging deep to see why you respond to the way that you want this love, you have this love addiction to the feeling, but not necessarily the commitment. That can be because, like you said, of what mama went through, but that doesn't mean how
Exactly.
mama handled it
Right.
was the right, I say right loosely, but the most healthy way.
Right.
Or even forget all that, just a way that you should repeat. That's
Right.
not necessarily
Yeah.
what it means. So in the evaluation, it's important to look at that as well.
Yes.
Yes.
How they did it, should they have done it that way? Does that work for me? Does it make sense
Yeah.
to what I need to be doing? Because when you do dig deep internally, you will find out all about that
Yeah.
from God. He'll give you that
Yeah.
in your prayer, in your alone time. It will be made whole.
Yeah. And I'll say
inside
this
of you.
last thing about, like, because I was married for 11 years when I knew I probably should have been out in
Sure.
year two.
Absolutely.
The Bible, that was
Yes.
one thing. The hope.
Yes.
It'll get better. And then I stayed there for 11 years with them for 15.
Right.
But for me, I don't believe in staying in anything. I just be like, God, we're going to forgive me or whatever. But I know He wants us to be happy.
Yes.
And so if it's not with the person you're with, then He may have someone else out there for you. So that's why you have to ask Him first.
That's right.
So for me, I just got to the point that I was like, I didn't want to pop no more Vicodin.
Right.
I didn't want to drink no more wine.
Yeah.
I didn't want my kids saying, you drink every day,
Right.
Mom. I didn't want to pull up to the garage and cry anymore.
Right.
I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time. So I'm saying that if there's women, that it's too much empowerment. It's too
Yes.
many women
Yes.
to
Too much.
seek out.
Yes.
You can Google some empowerment, you know,
Yes.
and find.
But it's not just empowerment, just like you said, it's really uplifting.
Right.
We need to be
Digging.
uplifting those sisters
Yes.
through these programs
Right.
and like the
Yeah.
show and
Yeah.
other things that are going on. We need to through your books, all of that. We
Yeah.
need to uplift that woman
Exactly.
so she can go there
Yes.
and then have a support around her
Right.
to help carry her.
Yeah.
up.
Stop bashing each other
Yes.
and be able to really, because women, we have a bad rep. Is I don't like her. She thinks she that.
Right.
Oh, she this.
Right.
Instead of coming together
Right.
and saying, oh, you're going through it. You know,
Right.
I'm not giving you advice per se,
Right.
but I'm going to give you some tidbits to help you feel better, so
Or even,
you can
I'm
make
gonna-
the decision.
I'm going to share with you what I went through
Yeah.
Exactly.
and how I got
And
through
that's
it.
important
And you
because
can
people
do
get
what you want with it.
intimidated by
They do.
when we're on the other side,
Right.
right? And they're like, well, she don't know my struggle.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Oh,
have
she
no
don't know.
idea.
Look how cute her
Yeah.
You have
eyebrows
no
are.
idea,
She doesn't
right? She
know.
don't
Yes.
You can have cute eyebrows too, and be about your business. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
Yeah.
but you'll be surprised, you know, in business it's the same corollary to
Yes.
life. Sometimes the most successful business people, when you look at their stories, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And it's like that in life.
It is.
When you see that person that looks like they have it all together and it's
Mm-hmm.
consistent over time, think about what it took to get
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Think about what that took
It
to
comes
get
from
that.
somewhere.
It comes from something.
comes from
Yeah.
somewhere.
And you two said some amazing things. You were talking about really does that work for me?
Yes.
Looking
Yeah.
at other people, whether it's our parents, our siblings,
Yeah.
you know, our friends, the people we admire.
Yeah.
The important thing is, does it work for me?
Right.
And that, again, is going back to this theme that we're constantly talking
Yes.
about knowing yourself.
Right.
It's truly important. I too was married. Most people don't realize I was married for about 7 years.
Wow.
I was married young,
Yeah.
and I started everything young. I was in
Right.
college at 16. I was out
Oh,
in the
wow.
real world doing
Wow.
things at 21, 22, and so it
Wow.
all kind of fell together. I got married at 24. We were going through life growth.
Yeah.
Right.
And the person was one of my best friends in college. We
Right.
didn't date in college, but one of my best friends. No bigger cheerleader But what happens sometimes if you don't understand how to seek purpose and how to be flexible with God and wish you to grow, you have difficulty when someone else, you've now outgrown what they've seen for you. And that's what happened for me. My career, lots of different things started happening in a way that was fast for me, but it was uber fast for him. It was like, I'm not signing up for this. This is not what I signed up for. But again, to say, how do I come out of a situation like that? It was hard. It was hard.
It is
because
hard.
you feel like there's a rejection of you that's not about the love, and you can't control that.
Well, very much like you said earlier about that discomfort. So Scarlett, I'd love to hear your voice on that abundant life. That's what we're talking about, abundant life. God wants us to be happy, but really that happiness is entangled in abundant life, holistically, all around, full circle.
Absolutely.
Share with us what that means for you too.
What that means for me, that now I have gone from where I was in the beginning to now, it's like when I think about it, it just lights up the inside, because the person that I have now, he is his own person also. And when I talk about that space, how important is that space to grow?
Yes.
There's no stifling, like I'm here today. Before it would not have been allowed. He goes, oh, have a safe trip, honey. Call me when you get there. It's the words, it's the dialogue. And when you talk about the arguments, we don't have arguments. We have debates. When it comes to the point where the debate gets too heavy, we put it on the table and say, wait a minute, let's leave it here. We'll come back later and address it. And so it's things like that. And he's a mature individual. He had his issues before I met him. So when you talk about God bringing you together, I think the mess that I was in and got out, and the mess that he was in and got out, was that we were destined to meet up with each other and form this relationship. And it's, you know, people look at us and they say, wow, you are so happy. I'm like, yes, I am. I am. And they want to know what the formula is. And we are very happy, the two of us together, to sit down and say, this is what we do. This is what makes it work for us.
And I would imagine that that happiness came from somewhere, just like we talked about any success, whether it's business, relational, whatever it is, it comes from a place. So I'd love to hear about how you got from bad guy to good guy.
Yes.
Like your work that you did. I think it's important for the women to hear that.
Yes, I've always been a mover and a shaker. So when you stifle me, when you try to put me in a box, it doesn't work. So I need outside the box. And therefore, I put the work in. Whatever I could get my hands on, tapes, books, movies. You know, my favorite character is Lucille Ball. You know, watched her and I grew with her. You know, she made these movies. The woman who went from rags to riches, that was me. And my platform is MLMs. I love them. You meet so many people doing that. Each one of those people are professional in their own mind, and they have a lot to offer you, a lot to tell you. So I grew with that. And when you grow, it's the people, like you said, they don't want any part of it because you've gone this way and they're still right here. So when I met my husband, he's a musician. And when I was going through my mess, every Wednesday and Friday was ladies' night. So couldn't afford aerobics, couldn't afford the gym. So you go and you dance till the night as you got sweating. And he saw that energy, and then he's a percussionist, so there's more energy. But when he decided he was going to marry, I was like hunching my girlfriend. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? It's going to be good for you. Get him.
Wow.
Well, she didn't take it. So the energy, like it was meant to be, fell on me, and I was like, thank you.
I'm glad he didn't like that.
I love it. I love it. Wow. Thank you for sharing. All of you ladies, thank you for sharing. I think the women have received a lot of information on what they can do to get out of a love addiction and maybe even define what it is. So I want to leave you with a couple points, as we always do, to help you on your journey to discovering love and healthy relationships. So number one, as it relates to the love addicts that we talked about and being afraid of commitment, I think it's important for you to look at identifying and defining for yourself what love is. What is love to you? Because when you know what it is to you, then you'll be be able to easily identify what it's not. And then you can categorize whether or not you do have a love addiction to the feeling, or if you truly are afraid of commitment, or if you're just enjoying your independence. The other advice I want to give to you is to explore within. So with all of our dialogue, don't be afraid to go and get uncomfortable, as our guest said. Get uncomfortable with the reasons why you may be in a position of being addicted to the feeling, but really reserved when it comes to commitment. So get uncomfortable with yourself, identify what love is, and enjoy better relationships. Thanks for watching. Now, I told you we were going to have a great show. I hope you enjoyed it. And at this time, I want to give our guests an opportunity to share with you how you can connect with them. Scarlett?
Thank you, Yolanda, for having me. It's been a wonderful time here. Hi, my name is Scarlett Black, and I'm a co-author of a book called And I Thought I Did My Journey Alone with the wonderful And I Thought ladies. You can find us on www.scarlettblack.com.
Thank you, Scarlett. And Kim?
Yolanda, this has been amazing. A good conversation with girlfriends about love addiction. So I am so looking forward to just more of the conversation and tuning in to Grown Women Real Talk. I am Kim Whitehead. I am the CEO of Luxe Dream Group and founder of Demand the Dream. I am also the author of Give Me the Fairy Tale, Reawaken Your Dreams for an Extraordinary Life. Everything we've been talking about here today. You can find me at givemethefairytale.com for the book, or follow what we're doing greatly on Demand the Dream on social media at facebook.com/Demand the Dream or on Instagram at Demand the Dream.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Kim. Stacey?
Girl, I totally enjoyed myself, and I love what you're doing because
Thank
more
you.
women need this.
Absolutely.
So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
My name is Stacey J, and I am the creator, CEO, and founder of the Live 365 Empowerment Network. You can find me at Live365empowermentnetwork.com, and you can follow us at Live365, all social media. And if you want to connect with me personally, I would love to do so. I am at The Real Stacey J on all social media.
Outstanding. Thank you, ladies, again.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Grown Women Real Talk.